Well, it's that time of year again. It's August 10th, which marks the first day here in Michigan that you can bait bears. First season begins September 10th, second season the 15th, and the last begins on the 25th. Till then, I'm going to be running baits. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this. I don't even have a tag, but I got a few friends of mine that I'm going to take out. I better get started. I want to beat everybody else out in the woods this morning. Well, of course, I got here this morning. The barrels are scattered all over the place, so I'm going to gather up my barrels. Next time I'm going to have to bring a rope with me and rope them all together so the bears can't knock them over. So this year I think I'm going to be running 7 baits, at least to start. We'll see how it goes. So everybody asks, what do you use for bait? Well, here's what I like, granola. 7 cents a pound. It's good stuff. We also have barrel of peanut butter. Well, what I like to do is every couple of days just put a little chunk in there. It's just a little bit of a treat. This isn't Canada. You see on TV up in Canada where they take the four-wheeler to the bait at noon, and a half hour later, you know, it's dinner bell. Half hour later you got 6 bears standing in front of you. That's probably not going to happen too many places up here in the UP. I'd be lucky if I get 2 to 4 bears hitting a bait, but the ones we do get coming in, we want to keep around. When you're hunting state land, you can't have barrels out. You have to make your own sites and use dead logs and things like that. You can't trash up the woods on state land. So what I'd like to do to start is bait at least a couple of times a week, 3 if I can, if I have the time. But I'm not going to use, 5 gallons of bait at a time. What you want to do is create a little bit of competition. You don't want a ton of bait out there so they can just come at their leisure, because they're going to feel most comfortable coming in after dark if there's a little bit of pressure there. These sites are spread out, over I believe it's 5 or 6 different roads I'm going to be doing today. So it's a pretty big area. We're going to keep them bears coming in early. We want them to come in when we're going to be sitting there. So we're not going to be baiting them, at 6 o'clock in the evening when we plan to sit there, because those bears know where they know when you're there, they know where you're at. You walk in there, make a little bit of noise at 10 o'clock in the morning, noon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, somewhere in there, get in there, they're going to hear you. It's going to be a dinner bell. There's been quite a few times where I've gone in and I can hear them, the bears, back in the swamp 100, 200 yards, making noise, and I know darn well, I know from having trail cameras out, I leave, they come in. They know what's going on. So with every bait we're going to be doing a little throw. I'll fill up a Gatorade bottle. I don't have that molasses here yet, so I'm going to be using, this is a part molasses. It's got fryer grease. It's got some pancake mix, just a box of dry pancake mix. Throw it in a squirt bottle or whatever, take it in out of the woods with you, spray it up in the trees, get a good scent going. Look at that. Bears are gonna love that. Now another thing that works great, if you know somebody that has a restaurant, have a family that owns a restaurant, runs a restaurant, have your favorite place you go get coffee every morning, see if they can empty that fryer for you, that used fryer grease. Put it into a jug and start collecting it. Take it out to your bait site, dump it around your logs. Works great. What the bears do is they stick their paws right in there, and that crap just gets all over their paws. Then they go and they drag it off, half a mile away into the woods. And any other bear that comes across that is going to smell it, follow it right back onto your bait. Scent-free bug spray, gotta have it. Well, here I am at definitely my easiest spot to get to. You can see where we've had the bait back in there in the past. They've been digging that up like crazy. The only problem with where we got the logs right now is that it's just too far back in there. The bears come out of that thickest stuff. They feel safest popping out of right behind the bait there, but it's so far back in there that as the sun goes down, you just can't see for a shot back in there. So I'm gonna have to move it out. I'm gonna have to move it out here about 10 yards or so. Well, not even that far, but just so there's a little bit more light, just so you can see for a shot. It's a great spot, even though it's right next to a 2-track. It's a good early season spot. The later you get into the season, the dog hunters going up and down the roads, the small game hunters, guys getting ready for bow season, other bear hunters, most tags are given out for the last hunt. So the later it gets, the more pressure there is. So this is going to be a spot that's going to have to be hunted early. Otherwise it's just going to get cold. The bears, even if they are coming in, which they're still going to come in, but they're not going to come in until after dark. I'm going to go ahead and start with the little stuff. I want this bait to be packed in there tight. I don't want any other critters getting at my bait. So if I come here a couple days and the logs are scattered, I know it was here, it was a bear. Not feeding the squirrels and the skunks and the possums and everything else. I'll go ahead and save a little bit of this. I'm going to throw it up in the trees back behind the bait. There, it's all baited, got a good smell going. Now, I got a nice little path right up to the top of this hill. Right up in there. I got a little makeshift brush blind right up there. Might need a little bit of work. It's grown in quite a bit over the year. Since last year. Well, it's come down to the last bait of the day here. As you can see behind me, I got a nice little shooting lane here, right down to the logs. Alright, bait's all set up. Got my new camera set up there. Ready to go. Put a locking plate over it. I got a cable lock on it. If somebody wants it bad enough, they're gonna have to work for it, but they could get it. But it'll also keep it on there so the bears can't rip it off. I had that happen a couple of times last couple of years, so Hopefully it'll keep the bears from taking off with it, and I guess if somebody wants it that bad, they're gonna have to go back and get their cable locks or whatever else to sneak away with it. But first they'd have to be pretty pathetic to want to steal somebody's camera. But it happens. We'll check back in a couple days.